Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for TWiT specials is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com. This is TWiT special number 64, recorded February 2nd, 2011, Google Honeycomb. Breaking news brought to you by Slingbox with the new iPad app, slingbox.com. We thank them for their support, allowing us to bring you these breaking news coverage. It's Google's announcement live from their campus about Honeycomb, which Jeff Jarvis and Gina Trapani are joining us to talk about.
It was just amazing and surprising about all the different variety of devices that popped up running Android. Again, with open source, you don't really know what people are going to do with it. And, all the innovation doesn't happen in this building. It happens all around us. So there's a lot of excitement and a lot of opportunity, future opportunity for finding Android in new places. When you see Hugo's demo, one of the things you're gonna witness is how Google's cloud services tie together all these different applications and all these different companies that are making devices in all these different segments. Again, it's the cloud that makes the experience seamless. You could literally lose your laptop or lose your phone or lose your tablet, and all your data is safe and secure in the cloud. The next time you pick up your new tablet, it all comes back. The cloud is also the central point at which all the applications and services share information. So in the future, you'll be able to see a real seamless integration between phones and tablets and Google TV, which is also based on Android. And before I bring Hugo up, the one thing I wanted to mention is I truly believe the Android team, the folks over in Building 44 with all the Android statues out front, I really truly believe they're the hardest working team in mobile. They sweat the details, and they're there right now actually putting the finishing touches on what we're talking about today. So I really, really would appreciate it if you mention them when you talk about Android, because they're the ones that are actually creating it. Okay, Hugo, come on up and show off your stuff.
They are the Sammy Davis Jr. of mobile.
Thank you, Andy, and good morning and welcome, everyone. From the very beginning, the Android project, as Andy said, has been committed to open development. And one of the most critical aspects of open development is creating an ecosystem, a platform that enables developers to iterate and innovate as quickly as possible. So our approach with Android has been to equip developers with the best possible toolkit that we can build and then simply get out of their way. So with Honeycomb, we're enabling this style of rapid, agile development that the internet has been used to for so many years on this new generation of tablet-sized mobile computers. So today, I'm going to show you some of the new features of this platform that we've designed specifically keeping in mind the creation of amazing apps that are optimized for tablet-sized computers.
This is Hugo
let me start by giving you an
speaking.
overview of Honeycomb. And first, what you'll see is that we've revamped how you navigate in a device with a larger screen like this. So if you look at the bottom left of the screen, you see that there's a back button, there's a home button, and there's also a new button that's dedicated to multitasking. So when I tap that, you'll see visual previews for some of the applications that I was using recently, and the state that they're in, so it's actually really easy to switch back and forth. Over here on the bottom right, you'll see the notifications and systems status area, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. And the rest of the screen is dedicated entirely to applications. And the home screen is actually a really important part of our developer story. It's not just a warehouse full of apps. It's an application development platform in itself. And I'll talk a little bit about that. For example, widgets, as we call them, and by the way, the widget system is the same that's been hugely popular in Android phones, can now be backed by collections of data. And these collections of data can be visualized in some interesting ways. So right here, you're seeing my Gmail inbox that I can scroll through. You also see my calendar. I can even scroll through them together, and it's just really easy with multi-touch.
Jeff, is this similar to what you saw?
If I move over here to this home screen, I have a grid widget for my bookmarks. And if I scroll once again, I have what we call a stack widget that allows me to flick through different things. For example, Major League Baseball.
It's not a desktop, it's a
highlights,
tab
or
top, kind of.
my books.
It's Windows
over
Live
here,
Desktop.
Or some
Yeah,
YouTube
that's what it
videos
looks
that are
like, right?
popular today. And I can even sort of do this together and actually have a lot of fun with it. So there you go.
The speed is impressive
So
on the Zoom.
these widgets are sort of reusable pre-built components that developers can use to bubble up important information to the home screen. From a user's perspective, what really matters is, despite all of the clever computer science that we have to enable the smooth experience that you just saw, it's really just about quick and easy access to important information. Now, another thing that we've redesigned on Android, on Honeycomb, is the notification system. And as you'll see, notifications are completely non-intrusive. They don't get in your way, just like on phones. But now they contain more information. So in this particular case, my friend Anand is IMing me, and you can see his picture in the notification. And you
And
can
an
They're playing to
annoying
Android
noise.
strengths, that's for sure.
action it if you want. What we've done is
I'll be
built,
turning that off within 2 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Tell him to stop. What we've done is we've built some templates that actually allow developers to create these richer, more advanced kind of notifications. And I'll show you a few of those. Probably my favorite example is what I'm going to show you now. There's a headphone notification at the bottom here. I was listening to some music before getting on stage. And while the music app is active in the background, I get this notification that if I click on, will allow me to play, pause, or go to the next track, for example, like this.
Yeah, international underground thunderbounds when I stomp the ground like a million elephants, a silverback orangutan, you can't stop.
And I can just pause that. Now, if I tap on the notifications area anywhere here on the bottom right, I'll be able to dismiss some of these notifications if I don't need them anymore. We call this a line item veto. And while I'm in the neighborhood,
I wish I
talk
could see
about
his
the
fingers
quick
to see how he's doing
settings
that.
panel right here. This gives me quick access to important things like airplane mode, Wi-Fi, and so on and so forth.
So this is
Right
the
there
new
in one
window
place.
shade, basically.
So now I want to show you some of the new application patterns that we've created as part of the Honeycomb UI framework. But before I do that, let me just point out the fact that we've spent a significant amount of effort making sure that existing Android applications run really well on tablets. In fact, an app that's been designed with our recommended development guidelines is going to work without any modifications and run really well on Android. And
They
I
said
wanna
that
show you an
includes
example.
7-inch.
In fact,
Hugo
one
did
of
it
my
doubles.
all-time favorite games, which is, of course, Fruit Ninja. So because I was playing this earlier, I'm going to see that it's actually showing up here in my recents
Nice, Fruit Ninja.
by touching the multitasking button. So I'm going to go into Fruit Ninja, and I'll play this for a little bit. Now, this is a completely unmodified version of Fruit Ninja. In fact, what's available in Android market today. And it was built before Honeycomb even existed. And it works amazingly well.
Not
It even
double
supports
pixeled.
Multi-fingered,
Oh, that's cool.
multi-handed,
That beats iPad.
gestures
Yeah.
if you want. You can probably also tell that
Especially
I
for
am
developers.
really good or getting really good with this. But I'll pause that for a second.
So is that natively
So it works
executed
really well,
then instead
even
of
though
emulated?
It was built before Honeycomb
be.
even existed, as I said. Now, of course, we want to encourage application developers to build tablet-optimized experiences for their applications. And to do that, we've added a lot of really cool new things to the Honeycomb application framework. One of these things is what we call an application fragment. And I want to show you what that is inside of Gmail. So let me open Gmail over here. So we're in landscape mode. And in landscape mode, you're going to see two panes, the left folder view and then my inbox on the right. Now, watch what happens when I click on a message, when I tap on a
They
message.
left Eric out of the Super Bowl
You
plans.
see that the leftmost pane slid out to make room for another pane, the message, that then slides into the same place. And if I click on the inbox, you see that the leftmost panel or pane slides back in. These panes are what we call application fragments. And a fragment is something that a developer can use to encapsulate specific application functionality and then reuse that throughout the application. So for example, if I flip this tablet into portrait mode, I may want, and probably will want, to recombine how these fragments are laid out. And eventually, fragments are going to be useful so that you can have completely reusable functionality between the phone and the tablet version of your application. So that's coming in the future. Another really cool action is being able to pick up and then drag a message, for example, into a folder. And this is something that has been built not as part of Gmail, but part of the application framework. We have an incredibly full-featured dragging manager that allows you to create and manage sort of these dragging interactions. There's a lot more coming there.
One of the driverless cars is coming to pick him up after the demo.
Is across the top here is the application bar. The application bar is another application pattern that can be packaged into a fragment. And in this case, it's showing global actions. So I have search, I have compose, and a few other things. But if I select a few messages, you'll see that that application bar now changes to contain actions that are specific to the selected items. In this case, archive, star, label, etc. So this is another example of sort of really modular development that we've built as part of the Honeycomb application framework. So we'll go back to the home screen. And now I want to talk a little bit about performance. Needless to say, we've spent a tremendous amount of time really...
I'm not sure how the fragments ties into the phone platform. I didn't quite catch that.
I think you could use part of an application on a smaller screen and then other parts on a larger screen. We split it up, optimize it.
Doing with the existing framework can now be hardware accelerated. And developers can actually do that literally by adding just one line of code to their existing application, and then they can take advantage of hardware acceleration. We've also added a new animation framework to Honeycomb to enable developers to add transitions and overall polish to their applications. And you've seen some of that stuff already in the home screen. I want to show in a really simple way how powerful this is. So I'm going to click on the top button here on the right. That's going to take me into the home screen customization UI. And then I'm going to tap on the home button on the bottom left. And then I'll do that in rapid sequence. And you can see how amazingly powerful this new animation framework is.
Especially on the Zoom.
Fluid and smooth.
Where do you see the video wall?
We're also introducing a brand new graphics engine called RenderScript. RenderScript is built for high-performance interactive 3D graphics. And it enables some amazing new things, some of which I believe you've already seen. Let me show you one of the best examples of this, which is YouTube. So I'm going to go to YouTube here.
There it is.
What you see is this insanely beautiful 3D video wall that I can use to browse videos on YouTube. And you can see how fluid and awesome it is to play with. This is built using RenderScript. I'll go into our Books app. And in the Books app, you'll see a 3D carousel of the books that I've purchased, also built with RenderScript. And if I go into a book here, I've chosen Unbroken. Watch how incredibly smooth the turning, the page flipping animation is, even when you have pictures.
This is always impressive, but I find it useless. I just want to go to the next page.
It probably sells devices. It's a marketing cost.
Yeah.
Just for fun, I want to show you just a few more examples of 3D applications that we can build or that can be built on Honeycomb. We've spent as much time as we could optimizing performance at every level, even doing things like supporting multi-processor cores or multi-core processors at the kernel level to make sure that everything works super smoothly. So let me take Maps as an example. So I'll go into Maps here. And with this new version of Maps, as some of you may know, we're adding dynamic rendering technology with three-dimensional vector graphics. And what that allows is for me to do manipulations of all sorts in a map. So I can zoom, I can do some rotations, for example. I can tilt the map.
This is not new. This is just the current version of Maps.
I can even start to see some buildings.
But smooth and fast.
So look at the Embarcadero.
But something you can't do on the iPad, right?
I'll also show our music application.
It may,
they said. Here. And
future.
I'll go to, I'll go over here. So look at this incredibly smooth sort of carousel that allows me to browse through my albums. Also build.
Wow, this really does look like Windows 7 Alt-Tab.
Doesn't it?
And one last and really fun example is Google Body, which is a new application that I've heard some call the Google Maps of human anatomy.
Which looks like cover flow.
And I can do here this, things that you would expect from maps like Pan and Zoom. I can also
this is making me nervous.
But in these cases, there are layers like muscles,
They skipped a step, Gina.
Maybe the circulatory
Yeah,
system
they did.
or the skeleton. And I can zoom in here. And perhaps this is useful maybe to tell my doctor on the phone that I've broken my clavicle. Or if my doctor tells me that
I'm not sure if that's the best
maybe
example.
I've pulled my infraspinatus, I can actually find out what that is. Doesn't look that serious. So, speaking of 3D graphics, I wanted to invite an expert over to the stage. So please welcome Thomas Williamson from War Drum Studios to show some of the amazing things that you can build using 3D graphics on Honeycomb. Thomas.
These are always my least favorite parts of any presentation, is when they invite the developers up to
Thank you, Hugo.
dance.
I can't imagine why, because they're like, I love the new feature.
I just want to get to the announcements, and
Moved completely
Right.
over to mobile development and next
I guess this is
It's his moment in the sun, and here you are just
Exactly.
talking over it. Oh, for shame, for shame. His mother is so disappointed in you right now.
she can go to youtube.com/Android.
Okay, so Monster Madness is a South Peak Games title that was a PS3 game, and we've brought it over to Android using the same assets, the same gameplay logic, the same animations, and you kind of get a cinematic feel. And so the game itself, it's a hack and slash shooter. You have up to 2 people, so you can have Wi-Fi co-op with 2 different tablets, fighting enemies coming from all around you, hundreds of particles, you have explosions.
These are supposed to wow you with the capabilities of the platform. It's just that I'm going to reserve that kind of judgment until I actually get my hands on it. Once you've told me the basics of what it can do.
The game's going to feature 5 huge environments, 4 difficulty levels, vehicular combat, the whole 9 yards. We're really trying to throw everything we can at the player, and the high performance of Android and what Honeycomb provides allows us to do that. So let's move on to the second tablet, and I can show you Great Battles Medieval. So Great Battles Medieval is a History Channel presents Great Battles, and it is a cooperative development between War Drum Studios and Slitherine Software. And so this title is basically an educational
Yeah, I know.
strategy game with massive battles, and it's the first title that we've
Well,
done
and these things don't
that has
translate that well
100%
over a video stream on the internet either.
They don't either, you're right.
Or, we're looking to support the phones as well. The game itself shows hundreds of units animating, moving, uniquely thinking, all in a massive battle, all on your phone, all on mobile.
At some level, being able to do this on a device you're carrying with you in your pocket is pretty just generically cool.
Absolutely. I'm trying in my mind to think, like, how much ahead of what I can do on an iPad is this. Visually, it doesn't look that different, but there's a lot going on in this game that I'm not sure you'd be able to handle with the current hardware.
Yeah. Next.
Thank you, Thomas. That was absolutely stunning. Finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about the new media capabilities of the Honeycomb platform.
Oh, the music player needs a lot of work, guys. Do something good.
And I'm hoping they get to their important announcements before we have to cut out at 11 o'clock, too.
So I want to show you the new camera app that we've built because it has a completely stunning new UI. So as you can see here on the right, we have a really slick new UI to expose all of the controls that you want when you're taking a picture. So I can control the flash, white balance, and exposure settings, color effects, etc. I can also flip to the front camera if I want. I'll go back to the main camera, and I'll just take a picture of you guys.
In rapt attention.
That's a little shake over there. So there you go, and I can, of course, also shoot a
Everyone
video
in
and
geek
upload
uniform.
it instantly to
Yeah.
YouTube. We think this is a really cool new UI, and hopefully you'll love it. Now, Android has also been an amazing communications platform. And this device has a front-facing camera, which is really great because Honeycomb supports video chat. So I want to show you a little bit of video chat. And what you won't see here necessarily, because the tablet is sort of fixed in a stable position, is that we've actually spent a lot of time building image stabilization technology.
I saw that working in demos. It is pretty good.
On Honeycomb, both to make the experience really smooth, but also to save bandwidth, recognizing that a lot of times users are going to be on cellular networks with a device like this. And it works really, really well. To show you video chat, I'm going to actually contact my friend Lady Killer, Lady Killer is his nickname. You probably already know who it is.
It's not his real name?
You certainly will know as soon as we connect.
It's Eric
so
Schmidt.
Let's see if we can talk to Lady Killer here.
And this is Google Talk?
Let me go into Talk.
You know, I don't know. It must be. Yes, it must be.
Well, it's branded that way.
Maybe we'll try logging out. Oh, I'm not signed in. There we go. That would help.
Oops.
So what I'll do here from my home screen is I'm going to use a widget that's called a contact shortcut, which allows me with a single click to actually email or start a video chat with someone. My friend Lady Killer isn't showing as online yet. Maybe we'll try that in a little bit.
Our first
demo fail.
First demo fail.
My friend
Happens to everybody.
Anand here.
It does.
Let me try that. Lady Killer.
But now we won't know who Lady Killer was.
I know this suspense is killing me.
Still
Har.
offline. Well, let's just talk to my friend Anand here.
As someone says in the chat room, the title is a bit misogynistic.
Hey, Anand. How are you, man?
Hey, what's up?
It's doing pretty well.
Sorry, I'm not Lady Killer. I'm not bad with the ladies, though.
Oh.
I'm sure you're not. Hope you're having a good time, man. So I'll see you a little bit later, okay? I just wanted to make sure that everybody saw the new video chat technology as part of Honeycomb, and maybe Lady Killer will show up in a little while.
Cool.
Oh, please stop saying Lady Killer.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't want to keep repeating.
Right, just stop saying it, please.
Well, of course, there's probably no one in the world that knows how much video is capable of changing things, changing the world in itself, than CNN. So I'd like to invite my colleague and friend, Louis Gump from CNN, to show an amazing new application that CNN has been building using the Honeycomb platform. Louis, come on up.
I have a fear. We're going to have to cut out at 11 o'clock for Security Now, that we're not going to get the bulk of this, so make sure everybody to come back to watch This Week in Google at 1 o'clock Pacific.
Hey, give everybody where the address of this is.
Yeah, if you want to keep watching this, youtube.com/Android is the place to go.
I'm here with Lila King, who heads up our iReport group. We're really excited to be here this morning to talk a little bit about a new application we've been building. We've been hard at work on an Android app for the tablet, and it will be launching in the near future for free in the Android market. And we'd like to give you a little sneak peek. First of all, I'd like to share a bit of context. It's no secret that tablets are becoming a force in the marketplace and are going to be something we're watching throughout the year. And as part of this, CNN has decided that mobile is a core strategic priority. As part of the strategy of making sure that we meet consumer needs on mobile, we want to make sure that we're there for Android users around the world. We've learned quite a bit over time, and what we're trying to do is to take what we learned and put it into a
I'm still not certain, Jeff and Gina, what the advantage of having apps for this sort of thing is over just having a really good website.
It's a compilation of content.
I think you're exactly
It's a
right.
good question. I agree.
Yeah, that was the thing about the daily, is if you go through the economics of the daily, you've got to bring a lot of people specifically in. You lose traffic, you lose other things. Yeah, you maintain some control, but you lose the advantages of the web and the internet.
Pick a category, or you can swipe from left to right. In addition to that, when you find a story you're interested in, you can just go in, look at the content, and then keep
You
on
can
going.
swipe to the left and to the right.
Some of the experiences we're having in testing, this is
don't
an
wanna swipe, I wanna
incredibly immersive experience.
swat.
Consumers love it, and there's a lot of time spent in the application. That's, in many respects, the core of the apps because it's so rich and there's so much to it. However, if you look at the top in the action bar, you will see both an audio update and also live video. And the live video is something, of course, that goes to the core of what CNN is all about. Here you can see a live stream. We have live streaming video both from the U.S. and also internationally. In this case, it's some of our coverage of the protests in Egypt.
The U.S., however, they're just showing snow.
So you can get a sense of what's going on. We cover both top stories.
I'm not seeing anything innovative in this app. This looks similar to most other news apps I've ever seen.
Really a stunning experience.
I feel like this is just Google saying, hey, big media companies, you can launch your magazine or title on our platform as well.
And we're not going to take 30% of all your revenue and 30% of everything else in your firstborn.
Related to iReport. And to share more about that, I'd like to introduce Lila.
Thank you, Louis. iReport is an invitation to anyone in the world to participate in the news. And today, it's a community of about 750,000 people who share photos and videos and stories of things that are happening in their corner of the world. And today, what I'm excited to show you that for the first time, iReport will be available on a tablet. So let's take a look at what we have.
It's already
First,
available on a tablet.
iReport
It's
in
called
an
the
actual
web.
What you see first is a gallery of the most recently featured iReports on CNN. They are,
But you can
right now,
film. I guess the point is with the Zoom and its front-facing camera, you can film
lots and lots of
your
snippets
report on the tablet and upload
You
it.
don't need the app to do that.
We've very recently seen
No, you
video
don't.
of eyewitness video of protests in Cairo and flooding in Australia and
It probably gives you a more seamless upload experience, though, the native app. That's the only advantage
All right.
I could see that I could see without using it
You're
myself.
being nice.
You're already in the system, so to speak.
Contribute one yourself. So,
Right.
so you could imagine that you're standing in the middle of a news event, like this one, right? And what you're seeing in front of you is something that you just have to share. You have to show the rest of the world. So here in the CNN iReport, in the app for Android, you could choose that you want to capture a photo or a video.
I like their hard-hitting, it's slippery.
Line up your shot.
Look, it's
right?
snowing.
You could choose to use the front-facing camera if you'd like to describe what you're seeing, or use the back-facing camera to actually capture the scene. So we've got our shot. Thank you, Stephen. We press OK. Write just a little bit about what it is that we're seeing, press upload, and then the story goes right into CNN. And
All
it
right,
gets
all right,
attached to
Gina,
your
you're
account
right.
on CNN iReport.
And you're part of the
You'll also notice
conversation,
that
too,
in
because
the
you can be reading other
as
iReports and
far
respond.
as
And
Yeah.
You're seeing a tiny little iReport icon that's indicating to you that
Better
your
off to do this on a
story
phone, though,
is
than a
being
tablet, I
posted
think.
to
I think so,
iReport
too,
right now.
yeah.
But if you'd like to, you could move on to something else. You could close the app, and your story will still make its way to CNN. So I have to say the thing that I'm most excited about is that when iReport is on this tablet, it means that it extends the invitation to everyone to be part of the news to a whole new audience of people. And I can't wait to see what they do with it.
I'm not sure it's a new
Thanks so much,
audience.
Lila. I appreciate your describing that.
Tablets are still early adopters.
Powerful way to connect the
No, they're
news
grandmas, too.
to individuals.
Yeah,
and-
okay,
and
you're
for
no, you're
some
right.
people who want
Seen a lot of
feel
that.
part of it. If you're in Chicago and you're middle of the snow, you can still tap
At Davos,
into
the
this event,
population
like
of tablets was
we're here.
unbelievable.
And,
Really?
That's among,
we
you know,
can
big
still,
O executives.
Take a look and understand what's going on in the Midwest. Now, if we pan back a little bit and look at the whole package, what we'll have is an application that launches on the Zoom tablet in the near future. And in addition, will be available on other tablets using the Honeycomb platform as they roll out around the world. And that's really exciting to us at CNN. I actually was just sitting next to someone here who said, hey, you know, CNN is really well known as a video platform, a source of video, and that's absolutely true. But the combination of the video and the traditional reporting and the imagery together, it's just quite powerful. And so as people use tablets, and as these grow around the world, we want to be there. And when people want to connect with the news, we want to be with them around the world. So thanks very much for sharing your time with us.
Becky Worley is now in the studio joining us. She'll be hosting This Week in Google with Jeff Jarvis and Gina Trapani later on.
A little bit more multitasking here.
We don't know anything big yet, except CNN has an app.
Our friend Lady
And then we never found out.
What?
See if that happens in a little bit. But,
What?
Hey, Becky.
Exciting. Hi,
segue
Gina.
to the,
Hi, Jeff.
rest of the presentation here, and if Lady Keeler
Hey,
also
Becky.
will take the call.
They say they will take the call.
Oh, good. Let's start.
Great.
Let's see if we
Really
can figure
good
out what the
illustration
number
of,
is and start
the
calling.
hard
Where's
work that we've put into
an
making
SFW
sure
when
that
you need 'em?
Honeycomb is an amazing story for developers, which we think it is. We think it opens incredible opportunities for innovation in this new class of
We're bringing you
devices.
live coverage
we
of the
certainly
Google
cannot
Honeycomb
do
announcement on live.twit.tv with Jeff Jarvis, Gina Trapani, and Becky Worley, and myself, Tom Merritt. Live breaking news on TWiT is brought to you by Slingbox, introducing their new app for the iPad. You can now watch your home TV on your iPad anywhere you take it. Check it out at a Best Buy near you or slingbox.com.
And to tell that half of the story, I want to invite my colleague and friend, Chris Yerga, who's Android's engineering director for cloud services. Chris, stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hugo. So if Lady Killer calls in, can I speak with him?
Oh, please.
Okay. So Hugo's talked to you about some of the improvements we're making in Honeycomb. We're also making some important changes to Android Market that I'd like to tell you about.
Yeah.
The changes we're doing so in order to meet the needs of both users and developers. For users, to give them the best experience, a variety of ways to discover applications, and also very seamless path to purchasing those applications and installing them on their devices.
Over-the-air install, poor app
we want to give them additional control over how they promote their applications, as well as giving them some more flexible ways to monetize those applications. I'm going to be talking about all of those things here today. The first thing that I'll be announcing is something I'm very excited about. And while I'm logging in here, I would like to just reiterate something that Andy Rubin said at the outset. I'm actually fairly new to Android.
That is not Merlin Man, Scoops in the chat room.
I've been in the industry for 20 years.
Does look like Merlin.
That is Chris Yerga.
Dedicated and hardworking as the Android team. And the team that are putting together the things that I'm showing here today have been working tirelessly to get them ready for you. And so I just want to give a bit of a shout out to them.
Yeah, chat room, that's not here.
I'm happy to announce today is the release of the Android Market web store.
Market.android.com is live.
Store is basically the
You're fast, Gina.
Gun Brothers, right there on the front.
Up till now, the way you would browse applications and install them is by using the Android Market client on your phone.
And the Kenny Chesney app.
With today's release of the Android Market
been waiting
web
for that.
store, users can go to their browser, discover and browse through the entire catalog of Android applications on Android Market, as well as install and purchase directly to their device from the web. So let's take a look.
Looks like they lifted the design from the Chrome store. Very similar.
So
well, it's good if they're working together finally.
Yeah, that would be a good sign.
Market, we've kept in mind that there's a variety of different ways that users discover applications. Sometimes I'm coming to the market and I might not actually have something very specific that I'm looking for. I'm more in a browsing mood, right? So what I want to do is I want to come to the store and have a variety of different kinds of content sort of offered up to me that I can easily search through.
Can't sign in at market.android.com right now.
Delivers exactly that. As you can see here from the top, we have a carousel that shows a variety of promotional banners for applications that cycles through. I can click through them and see the different apps here. Additionally, underneath, you'll see the familiar categories from Android Market on your device. Featured applications, as well as top paid and top free. And additionally, we have categories that can be browsed on the left-hand side. But I think I'm going to take a look here through some of the featured applications and see if there's anything that catches my eye. You know, I'm sure Kenny Chesney's a terrific singer, but that's not really the kind of app I'm looking for. But hey, this Zenonia actually is catching my eye. And so if I click in here, it takes me to the applications detail page for this app. And so the first thing you'll notice is that the page is graphically rich and it looks terrific. And it looks terrific in a way that developers can control. In anticipation of launching Android Market on the web.
Not doing featured stuff in each of the categories, which means it's not as good an aggregator curator as I wish.
Promote their applications as well as the larger size icons over here on the left. And so by doing so, developers are able to make sure that when people come and look at their applications on the Android Market website, they look their best. Additionally, you'll see here on the left, since this developer has other applications in Android Market, they show up here so that folks can easily find that. And then all the information a user needs to make a decision about whether this is an interesting application for them is on the page. We have a description, user reviews, as well as application screenshots that I can look at.
Yeah, if you go into the application sections, you get top paid and top free, but there's no curation.
I think I'm going to purchase it and install it onto my device. I'd like to show you how seamless that is. So there's a buy button right here on the page. When I click on it, it opens up this window that pops up shows me the permissions for the app, asks me if which device I want to install to. Since I only have one device registered to this account, it's pre-populated for me. But if I had multiple devices and tablets, etc., this list would be filtered to just those devices that are compatible with this application. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase it. And by clicking on the Continue button here, it brings me, I dismissed instead of continue here.
Has a confusing UI that makes you dismiss instead of, oh, wait.
Clicking on Continue.
I'm sad that the first review on my app is a -1. Damn.
Actually, all I need to do with one additional click is
No.
complete my purchase, however.
That's rude.
I'm going to put this on the Google.
Those bastards.
Well, I didn't look to see if my app.
Is that okay, Andy? So I complete my purchase, and it starts charging my credit card. And so this is where some of the real cloud magic happens, because as it's processing my order, as soon as that credit card transaction completes, what happens is if we switch over here to my phone, you can see that I've got a notification right up here.
Yay.
It's already downloading directly to my phone.
I like that.
This works the same way that all of our Google Cloud-powered services work. There's no wires,
about
there's
time.
no syncing with computers, none of that sort of nonsense.
Cloud power,
Everything is
TM.
connected. Your phone's connected to the cloud. Your Android Market browser is connected to the cloud. And so everything just works seamlessly, syncing between the two.
Well,
and so now just
most of the time.
In a few short seconds here, I actually have the game successfully installed on my Nexus phone. So that's one way of discovering applications. But frequently, in addition to browsing through a marketplace, I often get recommendations from my friends about applications I should look at. And so the Android Market website enables a lot of scenarios around this that are very fast and flexible and easy. I'd like to show some of them to you. So I recently
This is App Brain, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
He was recommending a newsreader app that he thought I should check out. So he sent me this email here. And if I click on the link that he grabbed right off the Android Market website, it takes me directly deep linked to the application's details page for this Pulse newsreader app. So I guess it turns out that Randy and I have a similar taste in apps, because this is an application I've already installed, and Android Market website knows that this is
I like
already
that. I
installed
like
on
that
my
it
device
knows
and tells
you've
me
already
that
got
here.
it on the
Another
web.
thing that is interesting here is that in addition to the screenshots and banners, this developer has uploaded a YouTube video to promote their application. So we've also been enabling features on the Android Market publisher site to enable developers to upload YouTube videos as another way to flexibly promote their applications and get their message across to users when they're here on the Android Market website. So since I have used this application and I really do like it, I would like to share it with my friends as well. But instead of sending an email, I think I'm going to tweet about it to my followers on Twitter. And so if you notice here on the right-hand side, there's a tweet button. If I click on this, it pops up a little dialogue from Twitter. It's pre-populated with a link already pre-shortened to the application on Android Market on the web. And so I can customize the link here and send it out to my followers on Twitter. And as soon as that's completed, it'll show up on Twitter, and anybody who gets that message can then click on it and be taken.
I think they're almost underselling the big thing here, which is the over-the-air install. The fact that I can be on the web and it just shows up on my phone. That's huge.
Yeah, it is.
In my stream, and there's something kind of cool about the way these links work. So if I click on the link from my computer, no surprise, takes me right back to the Android Market website where I was. But the other thing I want to do is go over here to my phone and show you how the phone experience works. These links do the appropriate thing if you're either on your Android device or if you're on your browser here.
The goo.gl
so as we see
links?
here,
No.
my tweet just showed up, so I can click on that hello one and follow the link. And when I do follow this link, what happens is that it understands that this is a link to an application on Android Market. And so it takes me directly to the Android Market client on my phone, which is a more convenient way for me to install this application from my mobile device.
I think that was just a regular Tico, like Twitter shortened link. I think the browser just recognizes that it's the market once it expands.
Sometimes you have a pretty good idea of what
That's pretty
it is
cool. Though.
exactly
If a
you're
link will
looking
open an app, that's very big. That says that if you have Murdoch's thing, someone could send an article to another reader of Murdoch's thing, and if it doesn't have the app, it could go to the web version of it.
Yeah.
That's what we need here is a link economy for this app, the web world.
Smart linking.
It's true. I mean, the fact that apps haven't had permalinks on the web before this has been just crazy.
This could be significant, I think. Or not. I never know.
I can elect to show only paid or free apps or the combination of the both. I can also filter by applications that are compatible with specific devices that I own.
It's certainly true that Apple has the ability to link to an app, and then if you're on the phone, it'll launch the App Store similarly, but they just don't have that over-the-air install side of it. And you can't. I don't know that you can Twitter directly from the web page description of an Apple app.
No, I don't think you can. But you always get that thing that then tells you, do you want to open the application? That's on your Mac.
To open iTunes, the iTunes prompt, right? Mm-hmm.
Which always looks foreboding.
I'd like to show you here, which is the My Market account screen. So when I go into My Market account, it presents a list of all the applications that I've previously purchased so that I could do things like click on them and install them to an alternate device if I got a new phone or a new tablet. I can also go into my settings page here and give a nickname to individual devices. So if I have like a personal phone and a work phone, I can keep those.
This is all very smart.
Easier track of them so that I know which applications are going to which devices. So that's the Android Market website. It is live right now on the internet, so we encourage everybody to come to market.android.com and see the great work that the team has been doing.
I mean, yes, people in the chat room are pointing out you can over-the-air install from an iPhone, but you can't be on the web on your laptop and send it over the air to your phone. That's the difference.
Global base of both users and developers. But currently in Android Market, if a user is purchasing an application in a currency that's different from the one that the developer is selling in, the currency gets converted based on an exchange rate, and so it can be a bit of a confusing experience for the user. Sometimes the prices are, funny numbers, and developers also kind of feel like, they want to remove some of that confusion as well as have a little bit more control over how their applications are priced in different currencies. So today we're announcing that buyer currency support is coming to Android Market. What this means is that in the developer console, when developers upload their applications, for the currencies that are supported, they can go in and enter explicit prices for various currencies. That way it gives the user a consistent experience. It gives the developer a little bit more control over how their applications are priced in different markets. The way we're rolling this out is in a phased manner. So what's going to happen is today the developer console.
I thought he meant that you might be able to use currencies like Zynga bucks
for U.S. sellers.
Wow,
gold. Be able to go in there and set those override
for those of you who are
prices if they
listening
wish
and
to.
not watching, I just
If they
want to
don't, then
describe
everything
the
continues working
attire
the same
of this
way it
gentleman.
does
He's
today.
got a Google T-shirt on with a sport coat over it. Is this a new Silicon Valley trend? Because I've been noticing this, the themed T-shirt with the attempt to dress it up. Do we feel like this is classy?
Yeah.
Really?
It's totally Don Johnson.
I know you don't. I
love
just
it.
said that to get your goat.
Don Johnson.
Gina, pull out a sport coat over your T-shirt, will you?
See? That's it.
That's it. That's what I'm going to do. Is I need a sport coat. On Sway Guy will have one.
See? I actually saw Randy Zuckerberg wearing a Facebook bedazzled shirt with a cute little jacket over it, and I'm like, this is new trend. And I think
Randy,
it is.
not Mark.
No, Randy. Yeah, that would have been a hoodie.
And no bejeweled T-shirts on Mark, please.
Oh, I think that would be poor. But I'm just noticing that the fashion trend. So I just wanted to point that out for you listeners. And I think Gina's Don Johnson allusion is very appropriate.
Make it a comeback, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Stubble's already here. Why not that?
Other applications might use this to unlock features or premium versions of the applications. I mean, there's really a wide variety of different ways in-app purchasing could be used by developers. We're very excited to see how they use it. We've been working with a couple developers initially to get some feedback on the in-app purchasing SDK and also to get some integrations going to see how what they do with it. And so I'm very happy to invite one of them up on stage here with me today. I'd like you all to welcome Bart DeCreme. He is the general manager of Disney Mobile, and he's got some exciting news about their support of Android Market and what they've done with the in-app purchasing SDK.
You're right, Tom. They're dragging this out.
Yeah.
Thanks,
We may stick with them
Mark,
if we
although
because
I
we
think some of
expect
you
we
know
might hear some Google Music announcement later on, and we can delay security now till 11:30. I'm told. So
just don't delay Twig on the other end of it.
Yeah.
I'll fall asleep from my jet lag.
Heavens knows we wouldn't want any delays on TWiT.
Oh, no.
No, that would be
Never happen.
awful. That never happens. Leah would have our heads.
And at Disney Mobile to
Theo's
date, we've
sipping
had
a pina
about
colada about
somewhere
now.
over 60 million app downloads already on other platforms. And I think now that we're coming to Android, that number's about to get a lot bigger. So today I'm really excited to announce that for the first time ever, we're bringing 3 of our key apps to the Android platform. First, Radio Disney. Radio Disney.
There's the
not a lot
music
of
you wanted,
kids and
guys.
tweens in the audience here today, but
Justin
it's really
Bieber
a bit of a
all the
phenomenon
time.
with young
That's
kids.
All-Star
and tweens
Weekend.
in
We
the
wish
US,
we
but
had
really all
Justin
around the
Bieber.
world. And with the new Radio Disney app, the kids will be able to stream music straight to their Android device, and they'll be able to talk back, send out shout-outs and song requests to Radio Disney. The app's already been downloaded millions of times on other platforms, and now
This
it's
is
coming to
this is
Android.
less interesting
We're
for
demoing it,
consumers. It's
in
more
the other
interesting
room, and
for
we'll be launching over the
developers who are wanting to know how can I make money
The
off
second
my app.
app that we're bringing to Android.
And there's a
is
lot of
that
being friendly to media companies. Don't forget that Apple just got more controlling to media companies this week.
Yeah.
And so Google has an opportunity to say, why the hell would you play with Apple when you can play with us? We're going to be bigger and more friendly.
Yeah, roll your Kindle books out in your app here. We're down with that.
And what you do is you tilt and you tap and you pinch your phone to navigate your car through a set of obstacles to the next level.
I'm such a
It
bad
really
game
takes advantage
player. I
of
wouldn't
all the
be able to do that.
Android devices. That's also another app that's been downloaded millions of times, and where we think we're going to see really big numbers on Android. And then finally, I'm especially delighted, having worked on this with the team for 3 years now, to announce that we'll be bringing Tap Tap Revenge to Android. As you may know, Tap Tap Revenge is our most successful franchise, and I think it's one of the most popular apps ever on any mobile platform.
You mean
and now
on
we're bringing
iPad,
it in its
on
full
iOS.
glory to Android, with all the social features, all the gameplay, and then most importantly, all the music that is so powerful for our audiences. So we've got Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Linkin Park, Bruno Mars in the game. And Tap Tap Revenge has been downloaded somewhere north of 50 million times right now. And we've sold more than 25 million songs in our in-app platform across.
This is why I love our
these
chat
different
room. Some
versions of
people
the
don't know
game.
what Tap Tap Revenge is. Good. Yay.
Giving
I
our
didn't.
users the music that they love and the hits that they love is so critical to the user experience.
It was the Angry Birds of 2006.
Until the announcement here today of in-app billing to bring Tap Tap Revenge to Android. So let's see what it
I
looks
met
like.
the founder of Angry Birds in Munich and thanked him for all the time he's wasted in my life.
There we go.
You mean chances for your brain to recover?
That's right.
Ah, yes.
So here I'm running Tap Tap Revenge.
He also had a
on
great Angry Birds sweatshirt, and I wanted it.
But you can run it on any YVGA Android device. That's
The sport
running,
code over at Becky.
Android
See?
2.1 or higher. And
No, he
this
didn't have
is
one,
the
but I would.
latest version of
I'd
Tap
dress
Tap
it up.
Revenge.
Now you
It's,
would dress it
I
up.
want an Angry Birds sport coat.
That would be
and
good.
showing some of the big hits here on the homepage. And
Is it
what I'm going to do is
Rodney Dangerfield kind of style?
I want to get
that'd
some
be
Bruno
good.
Mars. So we'll tap on the icon, and it'll take you to our store that's inside the app. And then all you do is you tap to purchase the track back. And this is the new in-app purchasing UI from Android. And as you see the price, which we specify as a developer, and then the user has the credit cards that they've entered or carrier billing that's available for that device, and you can just leave that to the default, or you can change it. And then I'm going to tap on the buy button.
Still seems a little
here goes
complex.
the in-app purchase transaction, and there it is. I just purchased Bruno Mars, and so we've preloaded it here for the demo, so I can simply click here now.
I guess
to
it's
go
not
ahead
complex, it's
and
just
play the
giving you more
song.
options
And
than
the song that I'm loading
iOS does.
is, again, it's Bruno Mars. He's really the biggest new music sensation of the year. Came out of nowhere, has had 2 big hits. This is a new song by him, and it's called Somewhere in Brooklyn. And let's see how well I do with the device.
Fill it for the buffer.
We really don't need to see you play this,
I
sir.
think it's 7 Grammy Awards, and the Grammys are coming up in just a week, so you'll be hearing a lot more.
Given that I'm an
of him.
employee of Disney, I will keep my mouth
Doing
shut
all
at
right
this
so
juncture.
far. It's kind of an easy level, actually. A cheat a little bit.
Or
better.
they'll come and
So
get
that's
you.
Tap
They
and
will.
Revenge,
They will.
on Android, and it's coming this spring with the launch of in-app billing on Android. Thank you.
So, I mean, what we're seeing here is a streamlined in-app purchase. Gina, do you think this is a big improvement?
I think it's a good thing. You know, they have to have this, right? I mean, they're trying to get more people to spend money on Android, so I think it's a good thing. Although, you know, Android's always about all the options. You mentioned that earlier. It seems like a lot of options, but that's a general design decision, right? There's lots of settings.
Just 5 days ago. So great talented engineers, but really a great code base where the integration was really easy for us to do.
That's terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
So today we're going to be releasing developer documentation for in-app purchasing as well as sample code. And as I said, we've been working with a few developers to give some early feedback on it. Now we're going to release it to the entire Android developer community, seeking to get some additional feedback on the SDK. And we're going to be releasing it live to users prior to the end of this quarter. So there's been a lot of stuff we've talked about today. I think it's about time to wrap up.
No need to delay.
Hugo? There's some guy looking at me from your tablet.
Phone call. Oh, finally.
Let's switch over. Can we go hot
Oh.
here? Yeah. Hey, CeeLo.
Yo.
How are you, man? Thanks for joining us.
No problem, no problem.
They probably paid him for this appearance, which is why they're forcing it into the presentation.
We're really looking forward to seeing you at the Grammys next week. We heard you're performing with Gwyneth and the Muppets. That sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be real cool.
Gwyneth and the Muppets.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Man. And
I liked
what else are you
Gwyneth's
up to?
cover of CeeLo's song.
I really did
just
too.
doing a little touring in support of the album, which is doing very well. You know, having a little fun in the process, you know, but working very hard at the moment.
That sounds like us on this end, man. We're having a ton of fun and working very hard at the same time.
20 years ago, people are going to look at the quality of these calls and just laugh the way we laugh at black and white TV broadcasts.
Hard work is hard work.
It's true.
Hey, CeeLo, all the best next week, man. Thanks for joining us.
Is he supposed to be showing
the
off?
lady killer?
Yeah, talk to you soon, man. Later.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Is he supposed to be showing off the image stabilization there? I didn't quite get that.
All right, so thanks everyone for coming. I would now like to invite you to come to the back and look at our demo station.
Oh, they're finishing early?
Oh, no music.
Applications optimized for Honeycomb,
Dang.
billing, and all of the new features we've announced today. And for those of you who are coming to Mobile World Congress in Barcelona later this month, we're going to have over 50 developers showing off Honeycomb optimized apps there. Developers have really been the fuel behind a lot of Android's success, and we think this year is going to be bigger and better than ever with these announcements. Thank you very much.
All right, so there you go. Breaking news of the Google Honeycomb announcement, brought to you by Slingbox here on TWiT.tv. Myself, Jeff Jarvis, and Gina Trapani, along with Becky Worley. And first impressions, they had two major announcements. One was the in-app purchases being streamlined. And that could be a positive for developers who've grumbled a little bit about the ability to make money on the Android platform and develop for the platform. And the other was over-the-air installations of apps from a website. So you're on your laptop, you go to a website, you say install, and then the app gets sent to your Android phone without you having to sync it or download it from the phone or anything like that. Gina, as a developer, what do you think the in-app purchases will do to ease some of the complaints about developing on Android?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just like you said, it'll just give you developers more opportunities to get folks to generate revenue, and I also think it will create the opportunity to make apps that can expand and grow with new content. I definitely think it's a good thing, and I think it's something that Google had to do because mobile developers on the iOS platform, will have that, so they want to have those same options on Android.
I think that this announcement is sort of underwhelming,
That
Jeff.
was the word that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I agree. There was not much of an announcement there. And plus, what was out was seen at CES. I saw bits of it the only thing new I really saw at Davos was the video wall, which is pretty, but, it's one of those things that's that. I think we get to the point where with Google's development, rather than Apple's, they just tend to throw things out, new version, and it's not worthy of big announcements, big news. And the risk they have is that we're going to sit there at the announcement and then say, new?
Yawn.
Yeah, that's not good. But
well,
I think
they did set it up that way too, Jeff. They said, at the beginning, Hugo said, we are very iterative and we like to make this a process by which we can, design in stages and just let things come out as they come out. But the problem is it's like the exact opposite of the Steve Jobs mantra of create a great show. And so aside from that, the other question I have for you guys is the thing that I didn't get to see visually was the sort of fragmented layout. I was listening to the feed, in terms of how does that feel? Does it feel like the tablets are now, that this is optimized for tablets in a way that defies the way that Froyo worked for phones? I mean, does it feel like a substantive change for users?
Becky, I think it's the first thing that does. I think you're right. Having seen the Zoom in Davos and the fact that your email can be encapsulated in something that's as big as my Echo Phone Twitter window, just so I can get a sense of what's going on now and see what's going on. That wouldn't work on my phone. That does work on the tablet. That's one thing. That and the speed. But pretty much every function. The other thing that I think was important today was that things that are written for Android will work on the tablet and apparently vice versa. And I think that's really important. And you can optimize to speed. I think I heard that in passing. You can optimize to the screen size and the experience and the swiping, and that's great too. But we don't want to find ourselves in a world where Android phone and Android tablet are that far apart, because I have, for example, the Galaxy Tab. And when I asked about that in Davos, I think it was Eric Schmidt who said, it's a giant phone, is what that is. Mm-hmm. And it's true, but they also said, and I said, well, am I going to get Honeycomb on this? And they said, well, it's up to Samsung, but we're going to strongly encourage our manufacturers to, use the latest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that...
Go ahead,
I'm
Gina.
sorry, Becky.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that the fragments announcement sounded like it was a lot more for developers than for users. I mean, it sounds like you build a particular panel that behaves a certain way, and then you take those panels and lay them out depending on the orientation and screen size. So I think it's cool for users because there'll be a consistent user experience. But I think that was more a developer kind of announcement. It sounds like they're really trying to get developers to make their apps behave really nicely. That's what the transitions are about. Hey, we're going to let you build your app so that the transitions are pretty and it feels smooth, and we're adding polish. So I think that's what the fragments are about as well as backwards compatibility. Like these two panels are going to show up on your tab, but they're going to, the one panel is going to show up on your Nexus.
It was impressive to see Fruit Ninja showed off in a way where it's not double pixeled, it's not emulated, it's not a little version that's running on a big screen. It's the same program. It's like when you go from a 10-inch computer with a 1 gigahertz processor to a computer with a 15-inch monitor, or nobody has a 10-inch monitor. What I'm talking about, 19-inch monitor to a 24-inch monitor. Let's say from a 1 gigahertz processor to a 2 gigahertz processor. The program doesn't change; it just runs a little better.
Right. And what sparked this question for me is the end consumer question. We heard this news yesterday that the Galaxy Tab return rates were 16%, and one of the speculations is that it's because the operating system is not optimized for tablets, so therefore that must be why they're all being returned. And I'm thinking, if we're all underwhelmed by this announcement, does that help that problem, or is that the problem at all? And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is enough to make this so compelling.
I think this announcement is clearly for developers.
Yeah.
This announcement is meant to address all of the grumbling, all of the bad press about, well, developers don't really want to develop on Android, and say, hey, we're doing things to make it easy, to make it good, to make it better than developing on other platforms. And I think that's emblematic, is that the over-the-air installation, they didn't focus on the big benefit of consumers as much. They sort of said, and this is something your folks will be able to do with your app.
Right. And fair enough. It's just wondering, is it enough? Don't know.
Is it enough, Gina?
It's a good question. There's a lot of Flash going on there. And I'm not talking about Adobe Flash. There's a lot of moving boxes and flipping things. I mean, there's a lot of eye candy happening there. And I think I think the reality is consumers get wowed by that, and people buy devices for that. Yeah. So, listen, I'm an Android developer. I'm an Android user. Haven't had an iOS device. Excited about things like the fragments and the action bar and all that stuff. I'm gonna load up the developer documentation after we hang up here. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm a good indicator.
Jeff, last thoughts before we wrap this up?
I think it does come down to that wowie zowie showbiz thing versus just a product that iterates and develops, and each has its way. So when I finally get my hands on a Honeycomb device, I'll probably be very happy with it, but I won't have been taught to say, wow. One thing they did mention, I guess you knew this at CES, there's no button on the front.
Right. This, we didn't emphasize that, but this is a buttonless interface. It's meant.
Which means it's never upside down.
Right. You're never holding it wrong. So there's no wrong way to hold it.
I need that. I'm clumsy. I need that.
I've actually had problems with the button on my iPad where it's become less responsive. I have to hit it a couple times, and the idea of having gesture controls to take care of all that is a good idea. Although the old-fashioned person in me wants to have that physical thing that you can mash on when things aren't working. And
I just need that paperclip hole. So long as it has that paperclip hole where there's that ultimate reset, then I always feel comfortable. So long as
it is a safety net, isn't it?
It is. It's my blankie.
We'll be talking more about this on TWiT on This Week in Google, coming up at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern Time with Gina Trapani and Jeff Jarvis, hosted by Becky Worley.
Yes, we shall. So I'll see you two then. And Tom, you go forth and be secure now.
Thanks. I will.
In the meantime, by the way, Tom, speaking of that, I saw that Facebook just put up that it's going to switch to HTTPS, so you'll be safe in coffee shops.
Oh, good. Yes, I'm glad they're forcing that. Finally, no more fire sheep fears on Facebook.
Right.
We got stuff like that and more coming up on Security Now. That's it for our breaking news coverage of the Google Honeycomb announcement. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and thanks for Slingbox for sponsoring. We will have this up as a special in the feed. See you later, folks.